stock deployment. The KMGU is switched on by going into mode 7, which is air-to-ground attack, and holding the weapon release button on a Russian plane. While the weapon release is active, you will see a...
At first it looked like a mini airborne infiltration, because you had all these little parachutes falling down, and then it was just, because it happened in a split second, when the jets went off and they fired to their targets, all of a sudden now there was a small puff in the air and then explosions on the ground. And in my particular...
Simple. What happens is, in a KMGU, it's basically a pod that gets filled with cluster munitions at a certain location and time. You will open it up and it will drop out the munitions down towards the unsuspecting targets. In the RBK 500, you have the cluster munitions packed inside of a larger bomb that is shaped like a cylinder, which gets released off the airplane. Mid-flight, the cluster munitions will separate from within the bomb and head towards their target. In one case, you are dropping them in very much like a row or a linear fashion, which is good for taking out convoys. In the second type, it is more of a targeted drops, much more effective for targets which are tight together in small areas or individual pieces of armor, such as individual tanks. So let's go one by one. Su-27, Su-25, and Su-33 are able to use this weapon. It carries 96 bomblets of two types, AO and PTAB, and is attached to deployment. The KMGU is switched on by going into mode 7, which is air-to-ground attack, and holding the weapon release button on a Russian plane. While the weapon release is active, you will see a circle above your pip in the center of the HUD. You keep your pip in the center of the circle as you go in for the attack. The weapon will auto-release. You do not need to pull on the trigger again. Just keep holding it through until you hear the clicking sound of the payload being released from the KMG. Release should be executed at least 300 to 500 meters. That's 900. RBK 500. But this is a very different thing that happens here. Here there's the 2.5 KOs, and we're actually able to watch the swarm of the bomblets as they head towards the tanks. You'll see something very different here though. The 2.5 KOs, when dropped out of an RBK 500 bomb instead of a KMGU dispenser, are dropping in a focused fashion. They're not doing a strip along the ground like the KMGU does, but they did quite a bit more damage to the Abrams because more of them hit on target.